Today's seminar, the truth about preparing your home for life's next chapter. So we talk to a lot of people who say, I just want to age in place. I just want to stay in my own house, which is totally fine. We want that for you. It takes some planning, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Some people say, I know that I want to move to a community eventually, but I don't want to do that yet because I don't want to move too soon and spend my money too fast. So today we're going to talk about your house and what it takes to be successful. If you're a first timer, my name is Becky Seda. I run Seda Real Estate Group, and I also run the Senior Living Truth Series. So I talk to people about their houses constantly, and there's a lot of things that you need to consider before you start doing modifications. What I have found as I talk to people about their homes is that our homes that we live in, wherever that is, has really become a part of our identity for several reasons. Maybe you're the one that hosts Christmas. Maybe it's the home. Maybe it's the home that you've lived in since you had small children at home, and so you've raised your kids, and you remember school days and graduations and wedding showers in your home. It's typically close to our doctors. It's typically close to church, and it really we really do identify ourselves with where we live. And like I said, many of you are probably not ready to move yet, and some are worried that you might run out of money too soon. So staying in home is important. What I want to challenge you today with, we want to walk through your relationship with who you were and who you are and who you want to be. That's the note that I have in here. Is it's so much about coming to terms with who you are, or who you were when your children were small, or when you purchased that home. Who you are now, and is your home still serving you, and how can it serve you better as your life demands change? So the three truths we're going to explore today is the best time to make a plan is before you need the plan. Sometimes staying put without a plan, I'm gonna put that caveat in there. Sometimes staying put without a plan can actually cost you your independence. And every house eventually asks something different of you if you stay there long enough. So we're going to expand on those. I want my panelists to go ahead and come up to the stage. So as we get started, before you guys introduce yourselves, why do you think that smart people delay making decisions about things? Kind of rapid round. Why do you think so? That's the first question on their handout. You want to start, Kristen? And then we'll introduce you guys.
I will say most people delay just due to the fact of reality of, oh, I don't need this yet. I can do it tomorrow, or I can do it maybe in a month or a year. I'll think about it.
Yeah. Cheryl, why do you think people delay on making decisions?
Guidance. They don't know who to turn to, or what resources are out there for you. So I think sometimes it's not lack of knowledge, but just not guidance on where to go next.
Yeah. What about you, Leanna?
There's not just one way, so it's often scary to, thank you. There's not just one way, so it's often scary to make the choice. It feels really final, and you don't want to make the wrong one.
Yeah, I love that. I think options are so important. Okay, well, since you guys are all settled in your seats, what I would love for you to do is introduce yourselves and tell our audience a little bit about why you're passionate about helping people be prepared for the future.
I'm Kristen Ketch. I'm a occupational therapy assistant, and I'm passionate about helping people remain independent in their homes, getting them strong enough to remain independent. And typically I see people after a life-altering event, if it's a broken hip, a stroke, whatever, or on a rare occasion I do get a person who maybe the doctor just said, well, let's send you to therapy and see if they can help you for strengthening or whatever. So it's a good feeling. You get to see the progress. You get to help them try to remain that way.
Yeah, I love that. Cheryl?
I'm so sorry, excuse me. My name is Cheryl, and I am the owner of Homewell Care Services. We're private duty, so we help you stay in your home as long as you can. And my slogan is, we just always want to bring joy and independence home, wherever that home is for you. So, that is our goal, is to keep you in your home, the home that you love, as long as possible.
I'm Leanna Richter. I'm an architect with GH2 Architects. I am fortunate to have a lot of seniors in my life and the life of my family, and I'm seeing them making these decisions right now. And because I do have an architecture background, I'm fortunate to be able to help sometimes to make things easier and to help them live well in their home.
I love that. We're so fortunate to have you guys. Thank you so much. So truth number one, sometimes staying put can cost you your independence. I know that this can, well, let me back up. I wanted to change this title because it sounded a little negative to me, but I knew that if I changed it at the last minute, Amy Wright, who you all know and love, would probably fire me. So I didn't, but I changed it in my notes and I like it better. So I'm going to read you a different title because I think it's better. Your home can set you up to succeed, or it can be the very thing that holds you back. I think that's a better title because honestly, our homes can be exactly the thing that helps us stay there. But if we stick our heads in the sand, then it can be the very thing that that our family members have to come and have a hard conversation with us about. So I know it sounds a little bit backwards, but people believe that staying in their home preserves their independence. Sometimes it does, but I have a note that says that sometimes your home, if you don't plan ahead, is the very thing that makes life harder. Kristen, one of the first things that we talked about when you and I sat down was, you said, if people think if I install grab bars, I'm ready. But what do they misunderstand about that?
So a grab bar is beneficial if you're going to fall right where that grab bar is. And that's never going to happen. And a lot of times everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to fall in the bathroom because I'm getting out of the wet shower or the wet tub. Your kitchen, your laundry room, those are big fall areas as well. So just because you have that set up doesn't mean that the rest of the house is just magically safe. It's not like a glitter fairy dust that makes everything safe. Or you're going to start to fall and you see the grab bar, but you grab the towel rack. Mm-hmm. And that's not going to hold you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love seeing a grab bar in a shower. I love seeing it right outside, and they make pretty ones. I can't remember which one of you was saying that they make pretty grab bars that look like towel racks. So if that's a convenient place, put your towel on it, that's fine. But I did. I love that when you were like, we don't plan to, oh, I'm about to fall. Let me go find my grab rail in the bathroom. So. Leanna, what are some other parts of a home that people don't realize are very difficult or very expensive to change later?
You want to look at how you're using your home every day now. If it's difficult now, it's not going to get easier. So let's try and make gradual changes, subtle changes to improve access, improve your reach. One example for me is like my first apartment had stacked washer and dryers. So when I bought my first house and my laundry room was small, I stacked my washer and dryers. But I've had back problems since I was in my 20s. So if my back was hurting, I could not get the wet clothes to the dryer on my own. Like I needed help. This year, after 20 years of owning a home, I unstacked that washer and dryer. I don't know why it took me so long, but the expensive things are moving plumbing. The expensive things are the big renovation projects. And that's kind of where you're going to start to look of, do I renovate this, or do I change, make a different change my plan, change where I stay in the house, start looking at things differently. But there's no blockade now to going through your day and saying, can I make this easier? Why is this on the top shelf now? Maybe it was your cleaning products were here when you had young kids, but it'd be so much easier if you put them here. Stuff like that will help right out the gate.
Is there anything that is just too expensive to change that, like, you would say, okay, that's just not, like, for instance, let's say maybe like a sunken living room or something like that. Is that something feasible?
Like a troublesome home, if you're coming in your driveway and you have issues getting to your front door or your back door or your side door because of steps, because of busted concrete, if you're coming home at, different times of the day and the lighting's not there for you, then you're going in the house and you walk in the entryway and it's a step down to your dining room and then it's a step back up to your hallway. Your bathrooms are narrow, so all your bathrooms, you have your toilet, your vanity, and your toilet, and you couldn't turn around if, even for a temporary amount of time, you needed a walker or a cane or a wheelchair, and you would really have to physically change the layout of the plumbing, maybe the layout of your hallway, the layout of your walls. That's crossing a threshold of renovation. And it's not that you don't want to do it. Maybe you do want to do it, but you want to make that plan early. You want to plan your finances, your time. If you can't live in the house while that renovation is going on, you also want to plan when that's going to happen and where you're going to stay.
So I didn't ask you this in the panel prep. I'm really bad about throwing questions at people. But what kind of time frame would it be to like make a bathroom bigger? How long does that take? Does it take 3 months?
What's really fun about construction is that's a sliding scale. So if everyone in town, let's say there was a big hailstorm or a bunch of wind damage, or if there's a bunch of bond issues and all of these schools are working, all of your projects are going to take longer and cost more money. The great thing to do is to kind of start thinking about these things, start coming up with a plan. You always want to engage a few professionals, and they should expect that the time that they can do it and the cost that it's going to take is part of the equation on who you select to do this work. So you reach out to a few people and you talk about your project, you get a budget, you ask them their timeline. If everyone is really busy, most professionals are really good about saying, hey, this spring, we're doing work all over the place, but if you can do it this summer, things back off, we have space for you, we can do it quicker. Sometimes I've found that, when you're doing a small amount of work, sometimes you keep getting moved to the back burner. Like maybe there's an opportunity for them to go build a larger project or do more renovation work that'll bring in money quicker and faster for them. So they're like, oh, well, this little bathroom remodel project, I'll wait a month on that, I'll finish this project, and you just kind of get in where you fit in. And I think that's all valid, and especially if it keeps your costs down. But that's very hard to do when you need this now, when someone's at a hospital or someone's had an event or something has changed, and they might get hurt in this situation unless it changes. Yeah. So starting early is the best.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think, well, let me ask you guys, but I have a question for Cheryl, but I want you to do a little bit of self-reflection for just a minute. And so I'm going to ask a question, and I want you to think in your head, is there a room or area of your house that you already kind of avoid, that's already a little bit troublesome for you? I'll tell you, mine is my upstairs. I have a 14-year-old. I don't go in his room for a different reason probably than you avoid the rooms in your house. But I will say, I think it's not even maybe age related. Maybe it's something that gives you some stress or something like that. Is there an area of your home that you're already trying to avoid? And then when we bring Cheryl's aspect in, the reason why I wanted her to come and talk to us is, in the future, if you need someone to come into your home, would there be any areas of your home that a caregiver would have trouble going into with you at the same time? So Cheryl, as far as what you've seen in homes and people setting themselves up for success, what rooms have you seen be the most troublesome that weren't before somebody needed your help? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say bathrooms. Because a lot of times when you need us and when we come in, we help with a lot of personal care. So, it's, if your bathroom is small, like Leanna was saying, it's hard to get a caregiver, a wheelchair, and you in a shower or a bathroom. So bathrooms are big. Like, we make it work, and the caregivers are great at it, but when you're all trying to fit in this small little space, safety can become an issue. So I think bathrooms are probably our biggest. Also, we do what we call sure steps, because everybody's just a fall away. So we make sure we go into the homes. When we go in, we make sure it's safe. So we pick up rugs that don't need to be there, especially if you use a walker or a cane, or So we do a great job of looking and making sure everything is safe when we get to come into your home. So we just want you to be safe in your home. So
Yeah, I love that. And I think I don't have a spot in my notes, so I think this is a good time to talk about the fact that sometimes you need equipment that could fit certain places. And what did we talk about with equipment that we bring into our home? It's only as good as the person operating it? Yes. Yeah, you want to talk about that for a minute since I don't have a specific space for that.
Right. So we, a lot of times we use gate belts, Hoyer lifts, different things like that. So having space for those items, a gate belt is small, a Hoyer lift is a whole different thing. But having space to move that around is always good. A lot of times, you can have things installed on the ceilings to help get you around. And, to use those things, I think Kristen talked about it on our panelist call. You have to use them, and like Becky said, it's only as good as the person operating it, basically. So
Yeah.
Well, and I'll add one thing
Yeah,
if I can.
please.
So your shower, if it's already kind of a smaller shower, or it's a tub shower combo currently, how are we going to get in there? We're going to have to bring in a shower chair. Is it going to fit? Those are all things to look at and think about. Or it has a built-in bench. Okay, well, you have a shower head. Can I reach it? Is the water just going to hit me in the head? Do we need to do a handheld shower head? Things on that aspect as well to kind of think about in your bathroom. Or should I think about tearing this all out and putting a shower that I could walk straight into and have a seat closer? Or I always tell people, put a stool, a shower chair, something like that in there versus a built-in bench, because if anything should change, you can then roll a wheelchair type shower chair into that shower with an easy modification.
Yeah, and they make really cute, like little teak wood benches that can go in there before you need an actual like medical
grade.
Yeah, grade. You can put a cute little bench in there too. Okay, so I'm going to ask each of you this question, because what I want all of our attendees to do when they go home is to look at their home with fresh eyes. If you're somebody who wants to stay there for a long time, I want you to look at it with a different set of eyes, because we all see things differently on a day-to-day. So today, after this conversation, when they go home and they do a walkthrough of their home with their new eyes, what pathways in their homes do you want to make sure that they do not miss or address first? What do you think, Kristen?
I always have people look at it, I need a good way in. So I don't care if it's from your garage door, back door area, front door, whatever door that is, and we're creatures of habit. So we use the same door typically. Go in, look at it. If there's a rug that has a corner that's up, it's still going to be up in 5 years. Maybe it's going to be curled more, and that's a hazard. Get that path, look at it, and see things that irritate you, bother you, you step around, you step over because of whatever reason. We all have a reason that we have this path. And so look at it, evaluate, that way, and then think about changes that we can all make.
Small changes.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be big.
Cheryl, what areas do you want people to think about?
I would say hallways, because a lot of times, we have a hallway that'll connect where we spend a lot of our time, such as a living room, and then we're going to go into a bedroom, and that's a hallway. So I would suggest, like Kristen said, if there's a rug in there that's curled up, remove that rug. I love a good rug, but and I would suggest putting like a night light in that hallway. At night, when you're going, for whatever reason, make sure it's lit so you can see too.
Yeah, and I think a note about rugs. I think it's so funny because rugs come up more, that even my stager will talk about rugs. And when I went through my so I have I'm a certified senior housing professional, and that's a pretty rigorous program. And so when I went through that program, there was a whole section on rugs, and also making sure that there is so that program is for real estate agents, and it said when you stage a house, don't move a piece of furniture that somebody's used to, like a nightstand. If they're used to that nightstand being there, and then you say, well, there's too much furniture in this bedroom, we need to move this, and in the middle of the night they reach for the nightstand and can't get it. And so it was a really insightful thing. But rugs, again, we don't plan to fall. So if you catch your toe on a rug, it might be like, it might be time to put some tape down on that and do it before it's a problem. Leanna, what do you want people to look at when they go in their home today?
I want you to make sure that what you're trusting is reliable. So when you're walking up to your house, let's look at all the guardrails, make sure all the rails are secure and trustworthy. Any door thresholds or any changes in flooring. If we have a temporary solution, let's try and get something a little more permanent. And we don't also want any surprise expenses. So you want to make sure that you're on a routine where you have your house checked. Like, make sure if you are going to need a water heater in the next couple years, you just have it on your radar. Just looking for things that are just typical maintenance of everyone staying in your home, because now when you're looking at modifying your home, you want to make sure you're holding back enough to maintenance your home and then also make improvements. So it's very clear staying in your home is possible.
Yeah, a lot of the people in our group own their homes in full, and one of the things that I see is that starts to become overwhelming fastest is taking care of some of that deferred maintenance. And the number that I have heard stated over and over again is if you plan on about 1% of your home's value per year just in maintenance and taking care of it, that tends to be a good jumping off point that will allow you to keep your home maintained while you're living in it, so that when you go to sell it or when your family goes to sell it, there's not a big slew of things that have built up. But I do love the idea of staying on top of things, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the program as well, but putting things off to the last minute can get very, very expensive. On that note, what is a modification or a purchase that you have seen people spend a lot of money on that really doesn't solve the problem that they think? And then on the other side of that coin, what is something that people don't do that would be really easy? I would love to hear if you guys have any input on that.
I see a lot of, and I know we talked about it on our phone call, walk-in tubs. I don't suggest them. They're great, they're wonderful, sure, you can walk into it, you can sit, you can soak, it helps my arthritic pain. I've heard the whole gamut of why they need that in their house. It's a huge expense. It's not going to bring any value to your home when you go to sell it.
Oh yeah, let me just tell you, I don't know a single first-time homeowner with a little 2-year-old or 3-year-old that wants one of those. That's automatically one thing, like, okay, now we have to save and get this taken out. They don't want it. So it's definitely a hindrance. Yeah.
And from my aspect of it is, if you're in the tub and you have a medical emergency, I don't care, blood pressure bottoms out, whatever. You're going to be sitting there for 7 to 8 minutes for it to drain before you can unlock that door and open it to get in or out.
That's such a good point.
Or for your loved one to be able to get in or out. And as you're sitting there, guess who's getting cold? Because you can't get to your towel yet. You're waiting on the water to drain. So as much as people think they benefit, they really don't. It's a great sales gimmick for the company that it's for
So
seniors.
I'm not saying go rip it out. Nobody's
No.
saying that. But if you already have one, then awesome. I
Keep
hope
it.
you use
But
it. Yeah.
a lot of people, that's the thing. They're like, oh, I'm going to go and put this in my house right now because it's going to help me.
But I think a walk-in shower as an alternative
Yes.
would be great.
And if you're going to do a bathroom remodel, I recommend, and I'm sure Leanne will hit it as well, a flat floor. So there's not a step. They can slightly grade it down towards the drain so it's not like water's flooding the whole bathroom. That way my walker, I can walk right into it.
Have you guys seen the zero entry showers? Has everybody seen one of those at least someplace? Yeah. Okay. They have them in a lot of hotels too.
Yeah. They're the most functional, the longevity. A 20-year-old is still not going to hate walking into that shower because it's not modified in their world. I mean, it doesn't look different.
Yeah.
So you're going to retain that value in your home
Yeah.
as well.
I agree. Cheryl, what would you say would be something that you've seen people spend money on that you're like, man, I don't know that that's what I would have done, and then maybe something that would be a good alternative?
Well, I agree with Kristen. I went into a home and, she had this tub and it played music. It lit up and I was like, oh, that's so cool, And she was like, probably not, So I agree with Kristen totally on that. And I think hand bars that are not, we talked about this earlier, but that is so important to have them placed in the right places. And if they're not, it costs you to get it installed. You had to buy, just all these things. So I feel like putting the rails where they need to go and not grabbing the shower curtain if you fall or the towel rack is very important.
Okay. I love that.
I'm going to add to that real quick.
Yes.
Suction cup grab bars. Don't do them. They don't hold you. They will pull off.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
you.
All right, Leanna, what you got for us?
There's a lot of gadgets out there that modify things. You can put, to create a hand shower, you can put something on your tub spout. But if you can go ahead and get the hand shower, or if you're changing, if you're renovating anything in your home, universal design right now is meant to accommodate anyone at any age. And honestly, we all could have something we're healing from, or something that is changing how we move through the world for a temporary amount of time or for a long amount of time. And I think the design world and the world in general is just embracing that. So if you're changing, if you're working in your kitchen, get D-ring cabinet pulls, and you can tell when you're shopping online, you'll see it, ADA accessible, and then the mounting heights are so important. It costs the exact same thing to hang a bar where it will help you as it costs to hang a bar where it won't help you at all. And all of those guidelines are online. They're available. Kristen has a handout today. There's great resources for that. And we talked about it. They're available, this is useful for everyone. So there's beautiful options. It does not have to look like you've adapted your bathroom at all. There are towel racks that are also grab bars available on the market. So it's there, it's helping everyone. My 15-year-old son was the first person to use my borderless shower. It was quite the ordeal. I had me and my husband were both helping him because he had a knee surgery and his mobility. He fainted. We were able to catch him. I was so happy that that bathroom was set up for that. And I have that now in my home too, if anyone in my life needs somewhere to come and stay. There's lots of small things that benefit you, and I would say don't be shy to ask for them. Like a keypad on your door can help you go on vacation because someone could come in and put your mail, and or if you have a hospital stay, they could take care of your pet and you're not chasing down that one extra key to your house. A mailbox that can take multiple deliveries if you're on vacation, or if you have a stay at a hospital, your mail is secure in there and someone can get it out for you. These are all gifts that I've given for Christmas.
Well,
so
and
this is what it looks
I'll
like.
say too, like I know a lot, we have a core group of attendees that come to all of our seminars, but I know that some of you just come kind of when it sounds interesting, and we did one called What to Do When You Call 911. And a lot of people are like, I know what to do when I'm called 911. But the thing that you just said about a key entry, if you were not at that seminar, first of all, watching on YouTube because it was phenomenal. But also you can call and log that entry code with emergency services in your community, because who pays for the damage that the fire department causes when they can't get? Does the fire department come out and fix it? No. You pay for that. So if you have a code to your front door, not only does that make it easier for family members to get to you, but it also makes it easier for emergency services to get to you if you're able to give them that code, and they can keep it securely in their system. So I love that as well. Before we move on, the only other thing that I feel like in my notes that we haven't talked about for this section is, and you touched on it a little bit, but expanding on the kitchen, because you said kitchens are a place that people fall. What are some easy changes that people can make in their kitchens?
So a lot of times we use the same pot to warm something up on the stove. We use the same 2 or 3 plates because we're not serving a big meal every night. I tell people, bring those items that are frequent used items down to either the bottom shelf of the upper cabinet or the highest on the lower cabinet, and keep that one cabinet your frequent used items. It's great that you have a 12-piece place setting. It's great that you have pots and pans of every size, but if we don't use them, keep those down low. I understand we have holiday meals. My items I need, I want within reach cabinet space, topping. That way, I'm not having to bend over and risk getting dizzy. I'm not having to squat way down and it hurts my back or my hips or my knees, things like that. So make one cabinet, one space with your frequent used items.
Yeah, I think that the takeaway that I want is for everybody to know that you have permission to separate your dishes. So if you don't frequently use all 12 place settings, grab the 4 that you do and put them someplace easier, and then grab your tall grandson when you need the rest of them at Christmas. Yeah? Okay, perfect. All right, so moving on. The best time to plan is before you need the plan. Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to read to you guys something that we talk about in my office frequently, because options are incredibly important to me. So this is something that we talk about a lot. Information creates options. Options create leverage, and leverage protects our clients. I want you to flip that for your home. Information creates options. Options create safety, and safety protects you in your home. Yeah? So we're going to talk about lots of different options and doing them ahead of time, because what we talk about a lot in the Senior Living Truth Series is that the longer that you wait to plan something, the less of the options that you actually have. Options fall away, doors close to those options because you have to immediately find something that works. But if you start really far ahead, then you have a huge array of options available to you. Planning preserves options. So I think every one of our panelists, when we talked before, said some version of the same thing, that by the time they are talking to a family, a crisis has already happened. So that's the insight that they have. And any time in your day-to-day life you're seeing constantly the result of a crisis, you start having some really good ideas as to what could have been done to prevent the crisis. So when someone tells you that they want to stay in their home, you know what? I always start with you, Kristen, and that's not fair. I'm going to start with Leanna this time. Is that good? Okay. Leanna, you're in the hot seat. And then we'll work towards me. If someone says to you, I want to stay in my home as long as possible, what is your first thought? What do you think when they say that? What do you want them to know?
I want them to live well in their home. Hoping that it's gradual, that they have time to make modifications over time, and that any improvements they pay for, anything they add to their home, they get a lot of time to enjoy it and enjoy the benefits of it. And, you know, that it can be positive.
Yeah, I think so too. Cheryl, what about you?
Well, I kind of kid, but I'm like, well, you've called the right place. Homewell is here for you. So, I mean,
Nice little plug there.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But our goal, like I told you earlier, is for you to live joyful and independent in your home. So that is our number one goal. We're there to help you stay safe. We're there to lend an ear. So it's just about joy and independence for us. So,
Kristen, do you have any, when somebody says that to you, is there something that comes to mind like, oh, I hope they know this, or I want them to think this?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I typically come in the panic. I do see some obviously before, but I'm after the tragic has happened. So it's now well, it doesn't matter. I've got to get the house ready for mom, for dad, so I see the other side that now we're trying to just get a bedside commode in the house because we don't have a bathroom that we can get a wheelchair in or a walker in. I can't get a walker in sideways because my mom can't hop. Yeah. So it makes that's why it's nice if you do plan ahead and you have the door pre-widened.
Yeah.
Or you plan the shower, or you plan these gradual things over time. Like we're saying, it doesn't have to be done in the same year, over the next several years. Kind of look at your big picture of what needs to be done, and then it's not a crisis, and it's not.
Yeah. So you're just hoping that they're planning ahead.
I'm hoping.
Yes, yeah.
I'm
okay.
hoping.
So, Leanna, you said something during our prep call that really stuck with me, and you mentioned it before. You said that crisis is the most expensive time to make changes, and this is for any age, like you were talking about your son. So if somebody is already doing a remodel, or if they're planning to build a home, what are some really good things besides the shower? We talked about the shower, but what are some other really good things that people can do that don't look like a modification?
I mean, if you can be at one level, nothing beats being able to go from the driveway and go all the way through your home at one level. That's tops. You know, the restrooms we've covered pretty thoroughly, but you want to make sure you can turn around in your hallways. You can get into the spaces that you can, that you need to, and it should be all of your spaces. This is your home. And I would say don't forget the laundry room, and really.
Yeah, and I think the important thing that I would say that you talked about that I remember specifically is just the fact that you can make it pretty, like where people can. And so if you have the time to plan ahead, where you're not like having to emergency opening things. So if we're talking about the best time to plan is planning before, if you're already going to renovate something, you're like, we have a lot of people, you know, I've got a lot of education partners in the room that are in their 40s. If they're renovating a bathroom, it's really easy to make that shower walk-in. If you're renovating, you know, if you're building a home, it's really easy to make sure that there's at least one entrance into your home that doesn't take 3 steps, right? I remember us talking about that as well.
And you know, there's general guidelines for all spaces. Kitchens, especially, no one wants, you know, a space so tight that when you open your dishwasher, you know, you're cut off from the rest of your kitchen. Like, there are times I would say that it's great to get help, and that can be a design professional, that can be a builder with a design professional in-house. When you're talking about anything that changes the footprint of your home, any additions to your home, anything that's large plumbing changes, I would say a designer is going to help you, and one of the biggest focus for a designer is making sure that all your pathways are clear, everything's safe and reachable.
Yeah, yeah. Kristen, what? Tell me some first, as an occupational therapist, tell me some first signs that you would say, hey, this is something that isn't going to cause you a problem now, but I can see further down the road you should pay attention to it.
So if I'm starting to walk down the hall holding onto the wall, or kind of finger touch the wall, or finger touch a tight space that I'm walking and I'm holding onto my furniture, those are kind of some early signs of, hey, our balance isn't as good, or my mobility's getting weaker.
I think you were talking also during our call about sight and needing a little bit additional lighting.
Yes, I was going to say, you can look at, and I say vision is important, getting eye checks, eye exams, but also it could be medication induced. Mm-hmm. So if you've started noticing it, kind of take note of, hey, I'm fine, but if I take this medication, I'm noticing my vision's not as clear. It could be based that way as well, and talk to your doctors on that. Mm-hmm. Night lights are always good. Do the automatic that come on at dusk, dawn, so, because we all know that light switch is way over there, but I've still got to take 8 steps to my bed, and I can't see in the dark. Or I get up at night to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's a huge, and when we sit up on the edge of the bed, we could be a little bit dizzy, we could be a little disoriented before we go to the bathroom, and so we're not thinking clearly, and we stumble because I left my house shoes sitting there.
Yeah.
And it caused those.
So listen to your body. Yeah. Cheryl, so I think one of the things that I see is that people try to do it by themselves for a really, really long time until it maybe has gotten to the point that they need more help than they would have had they called somebody in earlier. What are some early things that, that adult children, paid caregivers, any sort of support that's outside of the home, what are some early things that people maybe don't think about, even having the yard mowed, things like that, that people think, that you have seen, man, if we would have just had somebody help them with that a little bit earlier, and their ego wasn't maybe at play, because there's a lot of ego in doing it by myself. So what do you think?
Well, yes to everything you said. We see, being adults, we want to continue doing everything just the way that we did it. So a lot of times when the adult children try to step in, that just can make it escalate. So we always say it's better to be proactive than reactive. So just having conversations with your parents, or having conversations with your adult children, and having a plan. A plan is always good. You know, in case something happens, in case you have a fall, in case you end up in the hospital or rehab, you know, it's always good to have a plan.
Well, and I think also you talked about some little, on our call, we talked about some little things that we could do in our, like you were telling me about a pill, was it you that were talking about a pill bottle that does, or a pill sorter that does something?
It was Kristen.
Kristen,
yes,
yeah, tell me about
yes.
the pill sorter.
So they do have pill boxes that you can set an alarm on.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So there's.
Did you guys know that you can have a pill box with an alarm on it? Yeah. Okay. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
There's 2 options. You can do one that's like your standard morning, noon, night boxes, and it's like the whole month. And it will not be quiet until you take that out and open it, and it will keep alarming. Same thing, there are boxed units that are completely sealed off, lock, key, or code, depending on the model, and it will dispense. So it's programmed your child, yourself, your caregiver, your home health nurse, whoever can go in there, put in the code, use the key, put your whole month's worth of pills in there, and set that this one is one time a day in the morning, and this one's in the evening at bedtime. And then it's going to dispense. You can put a little cup, whatever, down there, and it will dispense them in there. It is going to keep alarming until you come and take those. And if you don't come and take those, it sends a text message or a phone call, however your person sets it up, to your loved one or whoever's on that receiving text. So they will know that you're not taking your medication as ordered.
Yeah.
And they will be calling you to say, hey, go get your pills. It's been alarming.
Here's what I love about that, though, because medication actually comes up a lot in caregiving conversations and independence conversations. Because if you're not properly medicated, then it increases your chances of falling. Yeah, because sometimes that has to do with balance and blood sugar. It also, Also, that is one reason why people start having to pay for care, is to help with medications. So I absolutely love that that they have those inventions. Watch settings when someone falls and alerting people, that's really great. Being proactive and making sure that the fire department has access to you. So there are so many things that you can do proactively, but none of those things help you if you wait until there's already a problem that has happened. So I would say looking into those things. All right, so planning is not about predicting the future. It's about giving yourself all of the choices before life starts taking your choices away. And our truth number 3 today is that every house eventually asks something different of you if you stay there long enough. Good plans have to be able to adapt. We don't get to say, okay, well, this is how my life is going to go. I'm going to have this fall at this age, and at that point, I'm going to move. Or I'm going to have this particular illness, or my spouse is going to have this particular illness, and I'm going to need to care for them, and I can't do it in this house, so I'm going to do it at this time. We don't life is constantly, an adventure, but not a choose your own adventure, right? So we just kind of catch what's thrown at us, and if we don't have the flexibility in our home. So next, I want to talk about maybe something that you said. Is that you made a comment during our prep that I wrote down, and I said, if it's pesky now, it's not going to get any better. So as life kind of throws curves at us, you were talking about making plans to move away from that. And Leanne touched on it earlier when she said maybe you're going to stay in a different part of the house. But when we were talking, talk to me about downsizing in your own home. What does that look like?
I say pick one room and let's get that one kind of ready. You don't have to do the whole house at once, because let's be honest, we get up out of our bed, we go to the living room and the dining room, or the kitchen, whichever way you call it. And those are the 3 rooms that you visit every day. Pick those rooms and let's work on those, whatever the area is. Or some of the guys, you guys get up and go to your offices that's down the hall. So let's look at those 2. Or the bathroom that's right there that you use. Because when you were saying it, when it gets pesky now, like if it's hard to get up the stairs, if you have an upstairs bedroom and it's hard to get up the stairs right now, and then you have a surgery, it's not going to go any easier.
Mm-hmm. And can we talk about stair lifts for just a minute? Let's talk about stair lifts for a minute. Yeah. Okay. So I love a stair lift. Do you like a stair lift? I mean, they're fine.
They do. Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I don't know any 20-year-olds who actually want a stair lift in their home. In fact, most people with small children, it kind of freaks them out because the kids think that's a super fun alternative to going to the park. So I will say, if you decide to put a stair lift in, I think that's great. When you take it out, if you have carpet on your stairs, you're going to have to replace the carpet on your stairs because that creates a black mark the entire way up the carpet. I've seen it a million times. But I mean, like, I would say as an alternative to that, find a downstairs room that can be your bedroom.
Correct. Let's move the master downstairs. Let's make the space work for you. And then if you want to do the whole house, that's fine. Do it at a later point, but then you're at least ready for whatever comes your way at that point.
Surgery, illness,
Right.
whatever. Yeah, I love that.
Our knee wears out, our hip wears out, we're ready.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that, Cheryl? Have you seen people move a bedroom someplace else in their home to make it easier to be cared
Yes,
for?
I mean, we've seen hospital beds in living rooms, and that's okay. I
Yeah.
mean, because that's what we need right now, and you know, it's totally fine. So
Yeah. Yeah. Leanna, do you have anything to say about maybe downsizing within your own home?
It's a good option too as a place to start. If you're phasing things over time, it might be the easiest renovation and it will get used. Whereas maybe focusing on changing the space in the upstairs, you might not be using it when you need it. So I think that's probably the most reasonable place to start.
Yeah. I talk to a lot of people who, you know, their home is no longer serving them. Maybe it's on acreage. Maybe it's got a lot of stairs. Maybe it's honestly just too big, but they don't want to move to a senior community yet. And I think sometimes looking for a patio home or something like that is a good alternative. But if you can, I mean, I had a client one time who, y'all, she had been living in her same house since 1955. That is longer than some of you in this room have been alive. There are some people in this room that were born after 1955. So that is a long time to live in the same house. And she wanted to do that because for cost purposes, and she was brilliant because what she did was she actually shrunk her there was a section of her house that was like a step down, like a sunken living room. She didn't go in there. It was an empty room. She didn't use that room anymore. They shut it off, didn't use it, and that was okay. There's not a rule that you have to have just because you have a room that is the builder intended it to be a bedroom or a living room doesn't mean that you have to use it that way. If your goal is to stay in your home longer for whatever reason, you have permission to do that. If money were not a deciding factor, is there anything that you would recommend someone think about? If money wasn't an issue, and you were like, think about this so that you can achieve your goals, what would you say that would be? Who's first? Yeah, you want to go first?
I'll say time. Like modifying your home in a significant way is challenging. It's tiring for anyone at any age. It's always takes longer than you think it will. There's the planning, and then there's the actual execution of it. And time is a resource. It's a lot of value. So do you want to spend that time, or is it better to make a plan for different sets of circumstances? And if circumstances change and your house is not working for you, you know what the next step is, and to take the fear away from that. It might not be the big home renovation, because you might not want to spend this time where you're doing well focused on something like that, and the challenges, and maybe even being displaced from your home while they work on it.
From the architect standpoint, one thing that we talked about was how to find the right person to do that job. And I think that's a question that a lot of us will have, is like, how do you know who to hire? How do you know, like when permit needs to be pulled and things like that? Can you give us some usable questions to ask?
So when you're looking at changing things significantly, so if it changes the footprint of your home, anything on the outside of your home, if you're impacting your plumbing, electrical, you will always want to have a licensed professional. You want your tradesperson to have a license in their craft when they're working on your home. You want to look for design professionals or building professionals. There are a lot of things that a handyman or a home improvement person can do for you. They can widen the door. They can make changes in your finishes. They can install your grab bars. But when you start pulling that tub out, moving the toilet, changing the footprint, impacting your kitchen in a significant way, you want to make sure that you have someone that's on the construction side, that their team has a design professional, or you have an outside design professional that you've engaged yourself. When you're interviewing, you want to interview a few people. You want to talk about not only cost, but time. You want to see a portfolio of photos that are similar in scale and the type of project that you are doing. You want them to have done it before, and hopefully they'll have contacts of clients that they've done this work for that will say good things about them. It's really nice when family and friends give you recommendations, but the only thing I would say is make sure that they're recommending someone that's done the same type of work. People are handy and talented in lots of different ways, but you really want someone who's done what you need and understands your scope of work. And I would say too, it's always helpful to have someone with you when you're talking or reviewing things when it comes to payment. When you are doing a large renovation, payment on the renovation should match stages of work that you're in. And you know, we all have friendly relationships and we all see things going really well, and you just kind of want an outside person when sometimes it's like, hey, is this really 50%? Or I see this material is, you know, it should be on site. Where's this at? There's just a few times that it's nice to have an outside person just to keep to the contract terms and to keep your expectations that you started with in line with what's really happening on the job site.
Yeah, so my takeaway from that I want you guys to take away from is that you're going to get multiple bids. That's the best way to know that you're getting a good price on something. And I wouldn't say that you always want to choose the cheapest one, but if you get one that is $4,000 and another one that's $28,000, then you probably need to look at that a little bit closer and kind of differentiate what's going on. And then I love asking for pictures and recommend like referrals and things like that, asking for someone that you can talk to that they've done work for in the past. Have you seen any problems with ramps before, like poorly installed ramps or anything?
So what I've seen, which I would like to avoid, is, you know, someone needs to come home from the hospital and we're building a ramp today. Like, come on, cousins, let's do this. Because depending on your house, an exterior improvement like a ramp does need a permit. If you have an HOA or if you're in a historic district, there's lots of things that could be happening where that ramp won't be a permanent solution, and that effort and that cost will not be a permanent help to you. Now, there's a couple things you could do. You don't have to run out and install a ramp and not know if you need a ramp or not. There's lots of contractors that will do a modular or an aluminum option ramp. And you could find out too, just engage them, find out what that looks like at your home, what it would take to have it, and then you know a couple companies that can install that ramp, you know about how much time it takes to get a ramp, you know if you need to do a little demo of concrete or something for that to work, and then you can just put that on the shelf, and that's a plan. When there comes a time that you might need a ramp like that, you know, well, this is my option, and I know about how much that costs. If you would rather it be more integrated and a more aesthetic improvement to your home, then yeah, that's more of a renovation project where you would engage somebody, and maybe it's brick and concrete and more permanent, and once it's done, and you start enjoying it from this moment, and you don't wait till if you know you need it.
Yeah, I love that. And also, if you're going to need the VA to pay for anything, you don't want to do that at the last minute. We all know that, right? That takes a little bit of time. Elena, I don't see where you are. Did you bring your packet today? I don't see her. Anyway, Elena has a packet for selecting contractors as well. So if she didn't bring it, you can make a note on your form, and we can definitely get that packet for you. It's a really helpful packet that she put together about hiring people.
And can I add something on the ramps?
Of course.
So for every inch that you have to go up, you have to have a foot of ramp. So if my step is going to be 8 inches, we're looking at a big old ramp. So that's something also to consider with, can I do a ramp that literally is just the 8 inches and say a foot out? Absolutely, but am I going to be able to wheel myself up that ramp, or somebody push me up that ramp because it's straight up? No. So think about those also as we're thinking about staying in our homes and independently. Do I have the space for that ramp? If I know that, hey, my mobility is slowly getting weaker, or I have something progressive that's making it possibly, look at the big picture of, can I put in this big of a ramp and in 8 years when I'm in a chair still get in my house?
Yeah. And the question that I have for you and Cheryl, because so if you haven't figured it out yet, Leanna is very much like logistics, right? Like she's like, this is what you can do in your home, and she's going to stay around, and if you have specific questions, can you stay around and ask and answer those after? And we'll do Q&A in a minute as well. I'm sure she'll be happy to do that. But you two are watching people in their homes, whether it's in a senior community, because I know you're at Quail Ridge, and so you see that a lot, but also Cheryl, you're in people's homes, both in communities and their actual, you know, what we think of as a house. Let's talk about, like I said, downsizing in your own home, getting rid of some things. What are you seeing people kind of having out that it's really probably, even though you're not downsizing to a smaller home, it's time to pare down, that will help with your care? Because we talked on our call about the things getting in the way of you being able to live joyfully in your home.
Well, I'll go first. Is that okay?
That's fine, go for it.
So when we go into homes, we see people with furniture all around the walls and even in the center. Well, when you are using a walker or a wheelchair, you don't need furniture lining the walls and in the middle of your living area or bedroom or things like that. So I think that if you know, maybe a couch, a couple chairs, you know, things like that are probably what you need. But again, I mean, safety is always first. So we try to put safety first, and and it's a process. Everything's a process. So we just try our best to make sure your home is safe, basically.
Yeah. Kristen, what have you seen people hang on to that it's probably time to?
Don't get mad at me, but all your little collections of things, it's great. It's wonderful to look at the 500 different salt and pepper shakers that you have sitting there. But yeah, that can go. And I say salt and pepper because I literally have walked into a house that has that many, and she wanted to tell me about all of them.
I love hearing about
That's
them.
my
all the time.
mom.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Let's talk about
I
the salt
love
and
hearing
pepper.
about them. But can we have maybe like 25 of them, and you can tell me about the collection? Let's take a picture of all of them and have a photo album, and we can talk about that. Same thing, NASCARs or whatever, is just all your little collections of things. Let's keep a few of them. I'm not saying you have to get rid of them completely, or put them somewhere that you can still see them, but they're not in your main space, is the key.
Yeah. Yeah, I went on I went on a listing appointment recently, and there was a Elvis room, and there was a car collection room, and there was a Coca-Cola room, and it was so much that I literally thought to myself, if emergency, and it wasn't hoarding, because I've seen hoarding, we've done hoarding, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about a lot of stuff, like years of collections. And I thought to myself, if emergency services needed to get in here, they wouldn't be able to. Not because things were piled, but because there was so much furniture and small little things in a tight space. Yeah. So just because you're staying in your home doesn't mean that you cannot pare down. It's going to be easier to clean anyway. So, okay. Before we do Q&A, we're going to talk about our 4 places to start. So, Amy, if you could designate our mic runners for us while we go through this. Just Amy? I love it. She's a great mic runner. So the 4 places that I want you to start are, I want you to look honestly at your home when you go home. I want you to take a look at it. And if it's hard for you to see with your eyes, one thing that I have suggested to people before is if you take a picture of it with your phone and look at it on your phone and think to yourself, would I post this picture on Facebook? What concern would I have if one of my friends sent me this picture? Because that would, maybe you see it and it just looks like your house when you're looking at it, but when you look at a picture of it, you might be able to see some problems that you might have in the future. Explore, understand your options before you need them. This is asking questions, talking to people. Oh, maybe you have a friend that has recently renovated a bathroom, or you can call us, call our office. One thing that I know about contractors is that sometimes they need a little bit of fire under them that you as a single person cannot get them, or a single, a family unit cannot put beneath them. But maybe, like for instance, our office represents lots of jobs for them, so they don't want to make us mad. So if you need to talk to a contractor and you need them to maybe move a little bit faster, then you could always call our office and we could have your back on that, make some suggestions to you. Talk to the people who will be part of your plan. So if your plan to stay in your home may include, hey, I've got a surgery coming up, I'm going to talk to the people and make sure that they have the ability to do that. Or maybe your adult children or friends have already noticed issues with your house that you have not noticed yet, and they might be able to give you some good insight. And then I would say choose one small improvement, not every improvement at once, because I believe that the reason that people put off making good decisions is that it feels overwhelming. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed, and if you can the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time, right? So you just pick your thing and you work on that. Again, remember, if this has been helpful to you, we will put this on YouTube in about 2 weeks. So if you have a friend that you think, man, I wish they were here, or maybe a sibling, and you think this is something that they need to hear, please share that with us, and you can follow on Facebook. If you need any help finding it, please let us know. We love to help you with that. All right, Q&A. So here's how our Q&A goes, if you're new, or if you're not new. If you have a question, you're going to raise your hand, and then Amy will come to you. She will hold on to the mic. Our rule is that we don't release our mic. So she will hold on to your mic. If you have a comment, what do? You come find us afterwards. Because this section is for questions. So if you have we definitely want to hear your story, but if you have a question, that's what we want to talk about. Oh, good.
I'm going to go this way.
What kind of flooring do you recommend? For example, are people comfortable and happy with all tile or all wood? And of course, we want to avoid plastic because of the environment and everything. But as we get older, should we be I'm paranoid that somehow I might bring a bed bug home. I am deathly afraid of that. And so I think, well, should I get rid of my carpet just to make it easier to keep things cleaner, etc.? What kind of flooring do you find that works for people who are needing help and when they're making renovations?
Who wants to take that one?
Okay. So either way. Yeah. I mean, I would be interested in what you would say. My first thought is like an LVT is a great cleanable surface.
Luxury vinyl plank, LVP.
Yep.
Luxury vinyl plank.
And they are majority recycled materials, so that does help. If you are doing a tile and you're in a wet area, you do want one that is not going to get slippery. So you make sure when you're looking at the tiles, they'll tell you floor, wall. You want to make sure that wet area floor is a tile that you're looking at. And honestly, if you're going to any tile vendor, if you're going into a store, you can talk to them about that concern and say, this tile I'm going to use in a wet area, and they can help you with the slip resistance.
I have to say a note about luxury vinyl plank. I think it's a great product, and it looks just like wood. It's very hard to tell that it's not wood, and it's scratch resistant. So if you have pets, then it's not going to scratch up unless you have giant pets, And then also it's water, it doesn't get damaged, but you can put it in a bathroom or a kitchen easily. As far as property value, which is what a lot of people ask me about, is how's it going to affect my property value? I will say you are totally fine to do a luxury vinyl plank until your home value gets up over the price of maybe like a $400,000 or $500,000 home. That's when I would say that it might not be to your benefit. You might want to start looking at the hardwoods, because that's going to be the buyer expectation in those higher price points. But if your home is less than $400,000 or $500,000, then I would say you are totally fine to do an LVP. And a lot of the senior communities utilize LVP, and you wouldn't even know it looks like wood floors. What do you guys see?
I would agree, carpet, tile, or not carpet, sorry, tile, vinyl, if you want to go that route, or the wood is great. Carpet is hard, and I will do it. It's hard to push a walker in it. It slows it down. Same thing, if we do bring in a Hoyer lift or a lifting device, you, as the spouse, as a caregiver, are going to have the body strength to be able to pull it, to push it. And not only is it the weight of the unit itself, you're now adding the weight of the human that you are moving on that as well, with that carpet that's already going to slow down that. So you've really got to have the body strength. So people want carpet in bedrooms. I get it. It's hard.
Could you at least listen, most of my clients love a super, super, super thick pad, and I feel you on that, but if you're going to do carpet, maybe not that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're going to do the expense, don't add the added. Think about I don't know, I'm not a carpet person, but the shag of it, how tall versus the real thinness.
Yeah.
Think about that aspect too when you're looking at it.
That traction is hard. Who's next? Here you go. Okay.
Okay, Becky, this question is for you
Oh, mercy.
as a real estate professional. Is there a certain percentage in terms of costs that you should consider when doing renovations like this for your home? For example, if your home is worth $300,000, should you consider 10%? Because there's kind of a sliding scale in terms of how much money you could spend. You know, you wouldn't recap it going out on resale value.
Yeah, so I love that question, and I was super, super hesitant to go there because this is not a platform for me to say, just sell your house and buy another one. Yeah, I'm not going to say, that would be very typical for a real estate agent to say, right? So I'm not going to say that because I want you to stay in your home. I will tell you, you're exactly right. There's a sliding scale. And the thing that you must remember with your home, this is real estate 101. Every single home has a cap in value that you're going to be able to recoup. Okay? Just because you put something in it doesn't mean that you're going to get it back. So my answer to that is, unfortunately, it's very case by case. If your home is brand new and you're already kind of at that cap, or it's recently beautifully renovated and you're kind of at the top of what you can ask for a house, and a good example for that is if all the homes in your neighborhood are between $200,000 and $300,000, and your home is already maybe one of the bigger ones and very nicely updated, and it's already near that $300,000 mark, and then you put $60,000 into it to try and do something, someone shopping in the 350 plus range is not going to be shopping in your neighborhood. They're going to go shop in a different neighborhood, right? Not good, not bad. Economics 101 is people are going to take a dollar for dollar, and they're going to compare, and they're going to purchase the highest perceived value. So you're exactly right. You do not want to over improve your home because there is only a certain amount that you can get on it. Now, if your home is very, very dated and you're kind of at the bottom, then you have more leeway to add, because you can do those renovations like Leanna was talking about, do a beautiful renovation, take into consideration making sure that it is accessible, and then you have some more room. So if you have a question about, but there is a point at which where you've over improved your home, and that's okay if you know that you're doing it and you plan to stay there in the long term. Because if somebody says to me, I'm going to live here for 40 years, 40 more years in my home or 30 more years in my home, and my kids can deal with it later, then who cares? Like, paint your, gild your walls in gold. Good on me. But if you're wanting to get a return on that, then that's going to be a conversation, and I'm happy to have that conversation with you anytime. I will look at it and show you the numbers and say, this is about how much leeway you have here on this particular renovation. Does that answer your question? Okay, who's next? I know we have one over here, Amy. Miss Wanda.
I'm coming.
Okay, in my home, like getting into my front door, I have 2 steps. One is kind of a platform, and then a step to get in my house. Then I have 1 step up from the garage to get in. What's your recommendation for that?
I think,
Do I need a railing?
well, yes, I would have a railing on your stair if you're still able to use your stair, but that is a situation where you might be tempted to use like a movable ramp or something like that, and that's just going to be a temporary solution. So having more of a ramp, maybe taking the stairs out, but you will have to plan for the distance of that ramp.
So are you
that's something.
asking which one should you put a ramp on, the garage or the front? Is that what you're asking? Or are you asking just what are some things that you can do for right now? Yeah.
Yeah.
And a handrail.
A handrail is definitely going to increase the safety of the stairs.
I show a lot of homes that have handrails coming into the garage especially. I think that's a really good place because you're coming in from your car, you have your groceries, you have your purse, you have all of that you're trying. Handrail is really good.
And just, I know you don't want comments, but I've used the rental rail ramps.
A rental ramp? Okay, yeah, and one thing that I had on my notes if we had time, and we clearly don't, but I would love if you guys have questions about where to get anything, because we could kind of get in the weeds on that a little bit, and as I was looking at putting this together, we kind of could have gone on a rabbit trail, but if you have questions about where to find things or how to find a contractor, that's what this community is for. That's what we do here. And I think the takeaway today is the goal is to keep yourself in a position where you still have lots of choices and options, because your home, you can change your home, but your needs absolutely will change as we age. They all do. And that's the only thing that's a sure thing in life, right? Is constant change. But we just really want you to feel prepared. So use us up, use each other up, ask the questions. You guys are going to hang around for a little bit and ask those very specific questions. Guys, I appreciate you so much. This is such a highlight. It's such a good. It's such a good way for us to connect and answer questions and make sure that we're providing good resources for you. So please, let's give my wonderful panelists a hand and all of our education partners a hand.